Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Sunday Showcase with Parliament Quilts and Crafts. I am Latanya Patillo, proprietor of Parliament Quilts and Crafts, and I am here today with Gloria Harmon Hodges, my good friend, sister quilter, who is joining us today to share a little more about her quilting journey. So I'm going to welcome you, Gloria, and welcome everyone who is joining our live today.
Hey, girl.
Hey, hey. First, I want to say I hope everyone is home and wherever you are, I hope you are comfortable. I just want to share a little bit about where we are in North Carolina and just give a PSA. It is super hot. It is over 90 degrees, somewhat over. I think the heat index is like over 103. It feels like it's that hot out there. Wherever you are, I hope that you are comfortable, that you are in a place that makes you feel good and full of joy, doing what you love. But just be careful, stay hydrated, and relax. So that is the theme for today. Be comfortable, stay hydrated, and relax. And of course, listen to us talk about quilting. So welcome, Gloria. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. All right. So we are going to start, as we always do, with a little bit of an introduction. So I'm going to tell everyone, viewers, a little bit about you, and then I'm going to let you give us more information about yourself. Okay. So, folks, Gloria is, of course, an African American quilter who was raised by her dad in Watts, California. She is self taught, and I have to say, a fabulous self taught quilter. You wouldn't know it by this quilt that is behind us, which we will talk about a little bit later. She was connected to quilting through a connection with someone that she saw at a health fair. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to leave us hanging, Gloria, and I'm going to let you pick up there and tell us more about your journey to quilting.
Well, my neighbor, how I got started into quilting, my neighbor made me a quilt when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I said, I guess I think I can do this. But my version of quilting and everybody else's way of quilting was different because I was sandwiching my quilts and then I would turn them inside out and then I would stitch in the ditch and then put a border around it until I found out that was the long way of doing it. And then when I met up with these group of ladies called the Sassy Stashers, I learned how to do it the right way, and I've been doing it right ever since.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that. So tell me what you mean about the right way, because often in our quilt communities, right, we talk about whether we do it the way we want to do it as a means of self-expression, or we do it a certain way because it should be a best practice to do it that way, or is it because the quilt police say you must do it that way? Tell us a little more about what the right way is.
Well, they, regular doing your top, putting your layers, and basting it down and doing everything. But I wasn't it, and then you quilting it. I wasn't doing it that way.
Mhm.
I made the top, I turned it inside out and
Mhm.
did everything that way, then turned it inside out again and then stitch in the ditch. But that was it's a way of doing it, but it was the long way of doing
Yes.
it. So now I do it the short way.
Yes, I hear you. Well, that was a I would guess say a beginning design choice. So if you decided to do it that way, it would clearly in the future, now that you know better, that you know different, right? It would certainly be a choice. Before you were just doing it because that's the way you thought it should be done. But now with your experience, you know that there are other ways, that there are simpler ways to do it, to make it easier on you, and probably more fun and more of an attractive quilt, if you
Yeah.
will. So that's awesome, awesome, awesome. So tell us a little bit about, like, that was your first project, but tell us a little bit about your projects since then and what your evolution has been like and how you've seen yourself grow as a quilter.
Um, I've grown a lot. I've learned a lot. And when I mean learned a lot, it's the people that you hang out with. the different artists that are out there that you learn for, like Aisha Labamba. You know how she's into her scrappy ladies with the hair.
Yes.
You have Renee V. She's more into applique.
Yes.
And then you have like Rachel Clark. She's into the kind of like the scrappy quilting.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
then you have Ramsey. He does applique with pictures and shadows.
Hmm.
They're phenomenal piece of work. And then you have your long arm people like Matika. She's really really good at doing her long arm work. And
Yes.
when I'm starting into getting into long arm, so when I have questions, I pick up the phone or I text her and I ask her questions.
Nice. Nice. So you have people on speed dial that you can call.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a good thing because I can pick up the phone and call up Bisa Butler and say, "Hey, girl, can you help
Right.
me out?" She'll like, "Who are you? I don't know you." She can't be but you need that network of people that you can always pick up the phone and, "Hey, I need help. Can you help me?" And they'll make time to help you go through
Right.
your journey on your quilt.
Right, right. And that's so important. And I will tell you and I'll share with the viewers the reason why we are here today having the Sunday Sewcase is because we are connected through our African American Quilters Guild, right? Our national guild. And you, Gloria, I'm going to give you a shout out right here now. Were the one to say, hey, why don't we do these opportunities? Why don't we have these conversations? And you stepped up, right, to showcase, to offer your support. So that network is real, that network is valuable. And I can pick up the phone and call you, you can pick up the phone and call me, and whoever else that you're connected with, with questions or ideas or even suggestions or recommendations. So if you are out there and you are quilting, new to quilting, or even want to try something different, you know continue to build that network because it is super super important.
And don't be afraid to ask.
Yes.
Ask.
Yes, yes, yes. So you mentioned that you were venturing into long arm quilting. And for those who are not necessarily familiar with all of the quilting jargon, tell us a little bit more about the difference between what long arm quilting is, and what makes that different from what, of course, we do every day on a regular sewing machine.
Well, I was into doing free motion on my machine, and when you do free motion, you only have so much space.
Right.
Your neck is only so long, and then your quilt size, as they get bigger and bigger, you don't have the space or the room to do it. So I started taking classes on how to long arm, and I'm sorry, I'm lazy. That's the way out. I'm not doing no free motion on the machine anymore. It's a faster way. You have more space, you have more design area, and you can just go wild with it. You
Right.
know, if you can afford to buy one or find a shop that give classes that you can rent the long arm. And
Mhm.
that's one of the deserts we have. There's only a couple of shops in the LA area that you can rent a machine in long arm.
Yeah.
And
And so, go
I
ahead.
can't
Mhm.
afford to buy one because that's like a brand new car. So I ain't buying one.
Right. Yeah. My license plate says my other car is a Bernina. So yeah, it is huge undertaking, but it's a serious undertaking if you're going to be quilting a lot. Um, there is a difference between a domestic machine, which is the machine that most people see, most people buy, that you sit on your desk or what have you, and you move the quilt in the machine, right? And you can do all of the things that you normally do on a machine. It just is you have to do it differently, and it's a lot more work, right? The
Yes.
long arm machine allows you to keep the quilt stable and move the arm, which is why it's called a long arm. And you can both do it be free motion with that, or you can have a computer do all of these fantastic patterns too. So there are levels to it. And if you can get to the point where, as Gloria said, as you said, Gloria, you can afford, right, and have not only money, time, but space too, because those are huge pieces of equipment, then and it is an investment for you to create these pieces. but you don't have to have it to do the work. But you will get a workout if you need to do quilts and big quilts on a smaller machine, or if you're doing hand quilting, which is, before there was a machine, there was the hand. And so you can do it any way that you need to do it with whatever you have. But when you get to be where we are, and I will speak for myself at this age in the game, I need a little bit more mobility. So yeah, a little long arm or more space, it would be really, really exciting and helpful. So
Yeah.
tell us what other is quilting your only medium?
No,
Or
I do a little crochet, embroidery. I have a, six needle embroidery machine, so I dibble dab with that. And I love to ice dye. No,
ooh,
that's dangerous because you can dye your own fabric,
right.
but it's a job. It's a job, and you have to have time and patience. A
Yeah,
lot of people don't have patience to sit there to wait, 24 hours. No, I need it right now. Give me a 2-hour job, but no.
right. Well, how long does the ice dyeing take you?
It depends on what you're doing. Mostly 24 hours.
Hmm.
That's I like to do that. I mean, there's other dyeing stages you can do it in, but I like ice dye.
Yeah,
Put the
yeah,
ice on top. Go back in the morning, rinse it off, and voila.
right. And so tell us a little bit about the ice dyeing. We like to learn all kinds of things here at Parliament Quilts and Crafts. So tell everybody about like what ice dyeing entails, what makes it different and unique from just like your regular kind of tie dye and all of that. What is there something different with the way um, the piece is finished because it was done with ice?
Well, mainly is you have to whatever material you're using. It's the design you come up with because you're tying or you're using rubber band to design
Mhm.
something of your own, and then you take it. You put down soda ash, you put down your dyes, whatever design you want, the colors you want to use, and then you have to put the ice on top, let it sit overnight, and then the next day you rinse it off, and real colorful, real colorful. I mean, people have good eyes with mixing colors together and stuff like that. It's just you have to have patience to do it, a lot of
Yeah.
patience, and it's fun. It's fun, messy but fun.
Yes, certainly an outdoor activity, right?
Yes,
Yes, awesome. Do you use your dyed fabrics in your quilts?
I have, not as much as I should. I not mostly I like to do t-shirts, tie-dye
Mhm.
t-shirts. But I have done some fabric and I've used them on a couple of quilts and stuff, but not as much as I should.
Yes, yes. It's fun to kind of think about things from start to finish, right? So you start with, if you're dyeing or if you creating like you do with a quilt, you start with kind of this blank canvas, right? And you dyeing, you're making the textile, and then you're cutting the pieces, and then you put it together in this final quilt. I think that would be exciting, and I know there is a huge quilt community in one of the Facebook groups that we're in, where they're doing a lot of dyeing, indigo dyeing, ice dyeing, tie dyeing, right? And just really like taking a project um, and using that entire medium, right, to really create this piece of art. The art pieces of art that also are utilitarian, right? Because you still can use these quilts, even though after you do all that work, you might not want to, you know, toss it around and all of those things. But it's nothing like people being wrapped up in something, this piece, this work that you did for them. So that's exciting. I'll be looking forward to seeing any future pieces of yours with that you've made with your ice dyed fabrics. And you might need to teach a class for us, Gloria, when you're ready.
Now you're gonna make me work, okay? Really?
Thank you for your offer.
Yeah, okay.
So, is there another technique that you want to learn? You are inquisitive, you have a lot of ideas, and I feel like these things are gateways to other crafts, right? But is there a technique that you want to learn?
I really okay. This is artist here in LA. His name is Ramsey, and he does phenomenally applique pieces with
Mhm.
portrait with fabric and stuff. I would love to get into that, but I'm
Mm.
not good with the different shades, the colors,
Mhm.
and how to make everything blend. So if
Mhm.
anybody is out there that's good that they want to help me, I would love for someone to help me because I can't. The color wheel doesn't do anything for me.
Yes.
Everybody say just take a picture of your fabric with your phone and in the black and white mode. I said, that still ain't helping me none. That just I just can't get it.
Yes.
One of my friends tell me you're overthinking it, and I'm like, no, but I just the colors just don't seem right. They just don't look right to me.
Yeah. Well, there is a member in our guild, I'm sure, that could probably um, share some of that information, but it is about the values. Now, I've never done it myself, but I've learned that much over the last couple of days that it's about the values, right? And it could be one color, but it's the different shades of that color. So you could start with a red, right? And you wouldn't have to worry about any contrasting colors or anything like that. You go start with the red, and then you have three lighter shades of that red. And then, of course, it's all putting it together. But, you know, I'm with you where you start thinking about, oh, should I use this one? Should I use that one? Should I do that one? And you start going down a rabbit hole, and then you find out, like, oh, there's a different way to do it. So, kudos to your friend for talking you through the fact that you can use, this app on your phone, use the black and white filter to try and do that. But we need to look up Ramsey so we can see his work. And then if anybody is listening and has more recommendations for Gloria around someone to do kind of the portrait applique, um, quilting, let us know. Place it here, and we'll make sure Gloria gets it as well. Awesome, 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 awesome. So you've mentioned two names. You mentioned several names about people who inspire you, and I think that's huge to as artists. We think about, like, yeah, we like the what they do, right, and we like to try to do create art in a similar fashion. But is there something that you do that is uniquely yours that you think you want to talk about? And I think that is part of why we are having this conversation today, because you are a scrap queen. So let's talk about that.
Well, I went on a retreat with Brown Girls Quilt and Create, and we had this pile of fabric called Mount Scrapmore, and I don't know. I just started going through the fabric, just picking the different colors of yellow and blue scraps.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sat at the table and I kept, it was for the instance, it was yellow. I kept taking all the yellows and just sewing all them together. And then I cut them into a block. And by the time we left the retreat, I had a yellow quilt, and my girlfriend called it yellow cello scrap quilt. And I just went down a rabbit hole with scraps,
Nice.
and I was asking everybody, you got any scraps? Send them to me. I just sew them together and I just do my own thing, just
Mm-hmm.
cut them into blocks and just throw them on a quilt together. It's just
Nice.
something I like. Somebody else's junk is another person's treasure. Oh, well.
Amen. Amen. And we know as quilters, there's always a wealth of scraps around. Now, do you have specific sizes for the scraps that you use? Do you use, small, medium, and large? Does it matter?
Beggars aren't choice. I take what I get and I do what I got to do with it.
Right. I hear you. I hear you. There are some folks who take scraps and then process them, so they'll make squares, certain squares that can be used as patterns. So you might make, uh, you know, 1 inch squares or 2.5 inch squares, or depending on the scrap size, 4 or 5 inch squares that can be worked into some of the common patterns that we have. Do you do that, or do you just kind of raw scrap quilting? Like, I'm just gonna take it, I'm gonna sew with it, and I'm gonna make it do what it do. Is that the kind of quilter you are?
That's what I do. I just do what I do, unless I just chop everything into strips. But
Mhm.
there's times I just take whatever piece, I'm gonna make it work. Cut it to fit and keep it moving.
Right, right. Listen, one of our viewers wants to know if you want more scraps. All right, RB Nelson, be prepared for that answer.
I'm overwhelmed right now, but I will keep you in your mind. I keep you in mind, okay? I just went and picked up a large quantity of scraps from a very good friend of mine in San Diego. So I'm uh, I'm good right now. But thank you anyway.
We'll stay connected and keep you on the list so you can reach out when it's time and you need those scraps, Gloria, because they go fast.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So while we're talking about speed, are you a slow or steady quilter, or are you super fast, speedy? I think you mentioned earlier that you don't want to take a whole lot of time on a project. So do you kind of zip through, or
It depends on what I'm doing. It really depends because I can be up all night. I'll stay up to like if I'm in the zone, I'm up to like 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning doing my thing. I just gotta keep going. I'm into it. I don't stop.
yeah,
But I kind of keep a steady pace. But if I'm in a hurry, I will zip through it.
sure.
But that means me and Mr. Ripper, we become good friends. So that's a good and bad thing.
Yes, everybody Jack the Ripper. If you're a quilter, you know who Jack is. If you are not a quilter, Jack is our seam ripper, and we all share Jack. Jack is a player, and sometimes Jack has to make his rotations when we are zipping through and we're going too fast, and we have to take something out and fix it. Jack the Ripper is always there for us.
He's a man. He's a man.
He's the man. So, question. Another question for you. So you're talking we've talked about scraps and this beautiful quilt that I have behind me is a scrap quilt. So what was your inspiration for this quilt? Let's start talking about it. This is the quilt that has no name, right? So
Yeah.
it is a beautiful unnamed quilt. But folks, it is a black and white quilt with a pop of red in the border. It is not quite a bed quilt. It is more of it would be more of a lap quilt, but it is also a wall hanging size. It is wonderfully quilted. I don't know if you can't see the curves in the quilting, but the diamonds are, of course, the pattern is not. Haphazard, I will say. It is purposeful and dynamic. It is a gorgeous quilt to behold. It is hanging in the shop. So I know I didn't do it any justice. I'm going to let you talk about it, Gloria. But when she shared this with me and said this is the one that she was going to send to the shop, it is absolutely lovely. So tell us more about it, Gloria.
It's the quilt with no name. I quilt with a bunch of ladies called the Sassy Stashers on Thursday. And for the past couple of months, I've been just sewing all my black and white scraps together. And then one day I just started, cutting them into blocks and no rhyme, no reason, no pattern. I said, well, let me do it this way. And then I was asking ladies, okay, I'm going to use black and gray. No, no, no. There's some mysterious person. They know who they are. Said put a pop of red in it. And then another girlfriend of mine, she also said use red, use another color to bring it out. So I said, okay, let me throw a little red in there. Red is not one of my colors I play with, but
Mhm.
I went on because I didn't feel like hearing her mouth. But I put it in there and it came out nice. I like it. A lot of times when I do scrappy stuff, there's really no pattern, just
Mhm.
no rhyme or reason. I just do it and it comes out to look like something in the end. Because you can turn the quilt any kind of way and it get a different effect. So It is what it is. What can I say?
That's right. You certainly made something out of it, right? And so and clearly it became and has its own pattern. And like you said, if you turn it a different way, you'll see a secondary pattern. You look at the diamonds, but you see the patterns here in between. There is a reason or rhyme and reason to it. The lights here and the darks here, just some serious like color choices once you start putting it together, and often for folks who are just inspired quilters, meaning they're not, like she said, like Gloria said, you weren't going from a pattern, right? You were just inspired by the scraps and you started sewing. How long did it take you to do this one?
Probably about 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
the bad part about it, when I started putting it together, I didn't have enough blocks. So I had to call up some of my friends that had the same scraps to
Hmm.
ask them, can you go through and see if you have this particular color and stuff?
Yes.
But I made it work. I made it work, you know. It did.
Yes. Yes. Well, it's beautiful. I will share that there are folks in the chat who are giving some comments. I'm not sure if you can see the chat, Gloria, but Velvet is saying, so nice to see you. Shirley Ross is saying, hello. Can you show some of your quilts? So we're going to get to that later, Gloria, in a minute. Cassandra, who is also a member of our guild, who was just in the shop yesterday, said it was great to be able to view it in person. So she got to see it hanging on the wall. And is it RB Nelson said red is a great color. It is her favorite. And I also want to acknowledge the other folks who are in the chat, Alicia Coven and Nashonda Bender Cook, who have just said hello, who are engaged with us today. And so, this is, I will say, this is will be a beautiful piece. It's going to be in the shop for a while, for a long time, until you tell me you want it back. So if you are local, come on and see it. And Yolanda just joined and wanted to share that your quilt is beautiful. She
Thank
too
you.
saw it in person. So it really is a lovely, lovely piece. And I thank you for sharing it with us. What else would you like folks to know about the piece?
Mm, Nothing really. It's just a quilt.
Yeah.
And you can keep it as long as you want, because all I'm gonna do is put it back in the box with the rest of the stuff.
Oh, thank you. No, we're gonna keep it on display so folks can marvel at it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, what else? If there's nothing else that you'd like to share about this quilt, do you have other quilts that you'd like to show us right now?
I would have to open up the boxes. If you would have told me early, I would have had some things out. I just have that's one hanging up on the wall.
Yes,
That's kind of a scrappy African quilt,
sure.
and way in the back is one of the ones, La Bamba. That's the first one of the scrappy ladies
Mhm.
quilt that I did.
Got it. And so that's a lady with a big flowing
Flowing
dress with
hair.
skirt and hair. Is Aisha Lumumba, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. And when I go back to do the show notes, I'll add a link to her as well because you did name her as an inspiration and applicate inspiration for you. So very good. Yeah, we're having a conversation, y'all, and you all have been asking for what you would like to see. So this is a reason for Glory to come back on because she's going to come on and show us some more of her quilts.
You causing trouble. You causing trouble.
Causing trouble. But yes, we would love to see some of the other pieces that you do, and we'll continue to stay. We will stay connected, right, as quilt sisters. So as we grow and try new things, we'll pop on here and show you all of the things that we've learned. And when you master that next applique technique, the portrait technique, then you have to bring it back on the show and show everybody on the video, on the stream, and show everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, everybody see how that works? We get voluntold. We request and then we get voluntold. But as I said, the goal here is to continue to lift up the quilt community. We're out here. We're making art. There are beautiful people with beautiful spirits who are translating that into these wonderful works. Gloria, you are one of them. So I'm glad to bring a spotlight to you because you have just poured into to me as with your ideas and with your suggestions and with your recommendations. And everybody, as you can see, Gloria is game. Gloria is like, okay, we're gonna do it. So this is what we're doing. Thank you. So, what would you say to an aspiring quilter, someone who is new to quilting or maybe picked it up and or quilted before, put it aside, maybe is coming back to it, might be a little intimidated by what we're seeing. What would you say to an aspiring quilter or a quilter who wants to grow?
Don't give up. Your best friend can be YouTube
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of videos out there. Never give up. It's I Your quilt is an eye of beholder. You know, whatever you create, that is yours.
Mm-hmm.
That is yours. So people can criticize, oh, that's ugly, but in your eyes, no, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
The other person just don't like it.
Right.
So, don't take criticism, just let it go over your head and keep on going. Never
Right.
give up.
Right. Oh, I love that. Love that. Never give up. And that's a consistent theme, right? You just keep, as Dory from Finding Nemo used to say, just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Just keep
And
quilting.
get a lot of boyfriends. Get a lot of rippers. Get a lot of boyfriends. You'll have a lot of those. You
Get,
never have enough of them.
that's right. Get a lot of jacks, right? That is right. That's a lot. That's an appropriate number of boyfriends to have, right? You can have more than one of those kind of boyfriends.
Hmm.
Very
Yep.
good. All right. Well, Gloria, I just thank you so much for sharing this quilt. There are folks on the line. If you have any questions, post them in the chat. We will gladly answer your questions now. If not, we'll hang around for a little bit and keep talking. But we wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to see this piece. Gave me a chance to talk to my girl about quilting and what brought her to this space, and what we can look forward to from you in the future. So while we know that we expect to see some ice dyeing in the applique portrait piece, is there anything else that we should be aware of? Where can we find you if we want to keep up with you? Are you on all the socials?
Yeah, I am. I very seldom post. I answer, but I never post on Facebook or Instagram or
Okay.
anything. But you
Okay.
can track me down that way.
Got you. So you are on Facebook and you are on Instagram. Tell us what your handle is.
On Facebook it's Gloria Harmon,
Mhm.
and the same on Instagram. It's Gloria Harmon.
Gloria Harmon. All right. Awesome. 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 Thank you, Shirley, for your feedback. Thank you, RB Nelson. RB Nelson has a question. Are your quilts for sale?
Yes and no. It's kind of hard to part with your quilt sometimes. we, you know that. And I'm gonna get you, Ruby. She knows most of us just give our quilts away. We very seldom sell them unless somebody asks us to do a special quilt. We normally just give our stuff away.
Got you. Okay. But you're not opposed to making a
Yeah,
commission or selling a piece or two.
yeah. I'm, hey, I'm open, but majority of the time I end up giving it away.
Yes. Got you. Got you. Have you quilted or any of your quilts in exhibitions?
Um, the A couple of years ago, I had a quilt that went to France with the group,
Hmm.
and it was an applique of Jean Baptiste. So
Oh,
it went to France when the group had that. exhibit over there.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish.
And normally, I always enter in the Charleston show.
Okay.
I do that every year.
Okay. All right. So you are an international quilter. Your quilts have been out of the country, ma'am.
Yeah, I was one of the special ones.
All right. Well, you have to. We're going to post that. You have to send me pictures of that. So again, I can continue to add them to the show notes, so we can see all of some of the work that you've done. So this is it. This is not it. This is a version of some of the type of the work that you do. But you did a depiction of Jean Baptiste. So you know, there's that. You also that's kind of huge, man.
And we've even, me and another girlfriend, we tried to get in contact with him. I was gonna give it to him, but we never could get in touch with him.
Wow. So if anyone has a connection to John Baptiste, Baptiste, then yes, we would need to make that connection with Miss Gloria so she can share that. But that's huge. That's huge. I tell you what, we need to put it on Instagram and tell them to do their work, and all of the Instagram sleuths will probably be able to get him to that to him. So, all right, we want to help you out there. I think that would be wonderful. So, another thing
Okay.
to add to the checklist that we need to do. All right. Anything else? What's next? What else do we are we thinking about? And hey, Veronica, we see you. Welcome. Thank you. What else? What's big and upcoming for you, Gloria?
Well, we have that art to art project that's
Yes.
coming up, and that was a little hard because a lot of artists, they really they really close to their art, and when you ask them if you can make it into a quilt, a lot of people wouldn't answer, or they wanted some big money and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But someone in the group, Latoya,
Mm-hmm.
is in the art community. So I asked her for some of her friends' names, and I looked up a bunch of them, and I found one guy named Harry McFadden. So I'm going to do two of his pieces for our art to art project, and the artist is so excited. But
Mm-hmm.
I volunteered to give him one of the quilts.
Oh, well, are you doing a series? Is it part of a series?
Yeah, it's just two of his pieces that I
Okay.
fell in love with. So I'm going to part with one of them. It's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna do it.
Yes, yes. Well, we'll be waiting. Tell folks about what the Art to Art Challenge is.
So Laura came up with this brilliant idea for us to find an art piece and turn it into a quilt.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people have a lot of nice work. I mean, hand drawn art pieces that they can do a lot with them. With the meeting last week, I saw potential in a lot of stuff. I said, "Wow, they can go way out
Yes.
with what they're about to do." And I think
Yes.
it's going to be fun. I hope they can find a venue to display everybody's stuff. I think it's going to be a really, really nice show.
Yes, yes. I'm excited as well. We'll be participating. We all are in the guild again. Have found those who want to participate. Found some art, whether it is from an artist who is living and here with us, or whether there was kind of royalty free art, and we are making a quilt out of it. And so I have my piece that I am working on to submit as well, in the hope that we'll build an exhibit to send out and shop somewhere, and maybe it will make it to France as well. Or some other interesting place across the country or outside of the country. But we're excited about it, so looking forward to seeing your piece. um,
Thank you.
yes, Ruby has requested that you talk about your quilts of valor.
So for the group I quilt with on Thursday, we have one of the ladies in the group. She loves to do quilt of valor. So I think I've done like two quilts of valor so far.
Mhm.
It's it's good to give back to our vets,
Mhm.
especially our African American vets. They don't get enough prop as they should. So
Mhm.
people in the quilting community, find a vet, make him a quilt, do a presentation. It makes them feel it really, really good. I
Mhm.
mean, it's a really nice thing to do for a vet, and more people need to be doing it. You don't have to do it as a group, do it yourself. And the Quilt of Valor, it doesn't have to be patriotic. You can
Mhm.
make it your own. And
Mhm.
now I just want to encourage more people to do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. You believe someone in your family may be a vet.
Right.
They'll be happy to get a quilt. That's
Right.
probably the only way they're gonna get a quilt out of you. But hey, what can I say?
Yes.
To try to find a vet to give a quilt to.
Yes. And Quilt of Valor is a separate a very specific organization that does that. There is a little bit of a process for that, right? If you are going to be in an official Quilt of Valor,
It
or but you can create your own and present it to a veteran. Like, you don't have to do that. But if it's going to be called a Quilt of Valor, I think they like for it to go through kind of a formal process.
it
Um,
has to be a certain size. It has
mhm,
to be a big quilt. There's
right.
a it's a size to it. I don't know it offhand, but there's a certain size, and you don't have to go through the paperwork. Just
Hmm.
make it the size, do a presentation, and
Hmm.
hey,
Nice. Nice. Ruby's question is that open to others outside of the group? Ruby, are you specifically asking about the Quilt of Valor or the Art to Art? Oh, no, it has to be Quilt of Valor. Um, we'll wait to the end for the answer to that question, Gloria. To
any
see, yeah.
anybody can do a quilt of valor.
Hmm.
Just long as you do it the correct size. Um, you can go on the Quilt of Valor website, and it'll tell you exactly what to do and stuff. It's nothing hard to do. At
Nice.
one point, they used to report in and tell them that you've done a Quilt of Valor, and they would send you a pin or something.
Right.
But they kind of slacked off with doing that. So just do it on your own.
Got you. Got you. Thank you, Ruby. Your question was the Art to Art. So this is a guild challenge, and so this is what the guild is participating in. But of course, like anything, if you find art that inspires you and you want to, reproduce that or create a quilt that is a representation of that art, I think that is an inspiration to do that. Of course, you would need to get if you need to make sure that it is royalty free, or you get permission from the artist to use it, as Gloria said. But the thing that we are working on, of course, is part of our guild challenge. Um, but do it, make it, and let's talk about that. And I'll put a plug in here for the guild, and this is why joining guilds are so important, whether it is the National African American Quilters Guild or if it is a local guild. A lot of the guilds get together and create and build exhibits, or build a collection that they will then share out, and share with the art community. So I continue to put the plug in, for the guild, to engage with us and connect with us and participate. Gloria, I see it looks like you want to say something, so I'm gonna shut up.
Um, Miss Ruby is a very good quilter, and she's good at sublimation too. So she'd probably be a really good subject for you.
Okay. All right. Yes. Hint, hint, Miss Ruby. Awesome, awesome. And welcome Linda Ely, who joined us on the chat. I don't know if I acknowledged you, but thank you for Linda. And I believe I said I acknowledged Veronica as well. So, um, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We are close to the end, Gloria. And Velvet says you're funny. Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Thank you, Velvet. I love you too.
So, as we move through, we'll get closer to the at least the end of this conversation, because we're going to have many more. What final words do you have for the quilt community? What would you like to share?
Well, if you're not part of a guild, get with a group of ladies that you can quilt with, or get on with the group that does sew alongs, like Brown Girl Quilt and Create, Black Girl Quilt and Create. Get with a group so you can learn different technique, and you can learn about the different challenges. But get with a group. It's more fun with a group instead of doing it by yourself.
Indeed. Thank you. The community piece is very important. Not only is important just for the building of the skills, right? Learning techniques, all of those things. But if there's one thing that we know in these days and times, right, is that community is what holds us together. And often we get on the phone, often we get on the interwebs, where we get in the room and we are quilting through our joys, our challenges, all of our experiences, and it helps us not only be better artists, but be better people. So I will echo what Gloria said: join a group, join a community, join a guild, um, connect with another person, even if it's one person, to do this wonderful thing that we call quilting and crafting, even. So I thank you so much, Gloria.
You're
It has
welcome.
been a joy. And I will let you all know that in preparation for this, I won't tell all the secrets, but you know, Gloria was trying to play coy, and she is a pro at this work.
Yeah.
Now I know better. But it has been wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your quilt,
Thank
your time, your wisdom, your beautiful sense of humor, lovely smile, and your sisterhood and friendship. And thank you all who joined the lives, who asked the questions, who gave the feedback. Remember, as you do the thing, just always take good care and make good quilts. Check us out at Parliament Quilts and Crafts, and check out Glow on and us on the socials, Facebook and Instagram. And we hope to see you soon.
thank you.
Thank you.